Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this week's practice of Together We Shine. The theme for tonight is a little play on the philosophy of René Descartes, who suggested that as human beings, we are able to identify that we exist as an individuated self because we think. So the suggestion is, I think, therefore I am. And it creates this sense of individuation, self-identity that is built upon the self as thinker. Yoga, which predates Descartes, but was probably lost or forgotten or just not accessible in Europe at that time, suggests something similar, yet simultaneously entirely different, that the mind is actually a tool that the self has access to, which allows it to perceive and experience itself, as well as perceive, experience, and engage with the external world. So our ability to think is a gift, a tool that we have to help us make sense of, assign meaning, and navigate both the inner and outer worlds. But we, the self, we're bigger than that. We're more expansive. We are less confined. We are not confined by things like linear time. We are not confined by space. We are not confined by the law of cause and effect. We are innately liberated and fulfilled. But we need the mind to help us remember that and then to reclaim that truth about our essential being. The relationship that we have with our mind is crucial in terms of how we experience life generally and also how we progress on our spiritual path. Being able to recognize in a very tangible, real way that we are not the mind and we are not the thinker and we are not the thoughts gives us this profound sense of relief that we are something more, we are something beyond, and we are something that is actually eternally untouched by the thinking and the thoughts. That realization, even when it's just fleeting, just a moment, maybe in an asana practice or in meditation or just experiencing the breath, that realization builds this buffer that allows us to witness the thoughts as they rise and fall in the field of awareness and detach from identifying with them. There's a lot of wind right now here. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but Finney hears it, and so he's barking. So if you hear Finney barking, he's responding to tree branches that apparently Spain has sent over some wind and some rain that just arrived. Thank you, Spain. So Finney might bark. That's okay. Anyhow, that's what we're orienting our experience of practice around today, is trying to get the surface level thoughts, which often keep us occupied to the point of distraction throughout the normal course of the day, getting those to calm down and maybe even clear enough that we can step back and witness ourselves thinking. So there's a particular, I don't want to say affirmation, but it's more of an affirmation than it would be a mantra, that I want to encourage you to come back to time and time again throughout the practice today, which is, I am not my thoughts. I am that which witnesses the mind thinking. I am not my thoughts. I am that which witnesses or watches the mind thinking. Okay? I'll build that in throughout the practice and remind you to just internally repeat and contemplate the impact of that awareness. That's all that needs to be said. Let's go ahead and come to our mats and come into Makarasana, crocodile pose. If you're unfamiliar with Makarasana, you're going to lay on your belly, legs extended out behind you, arms folded, forearms stacked in a way that feels comfortable. So feel free to kind of adjust, maneuver, and then the forearms are also lifting the rib cage off of the mat just a little bit. So the greatest amount of physical contact is ideally where those bottom ribs kind of give way to the soft, squishy belly. Those bottom ribs are where the diaphragm rests when it's not actively engaged in inhale. We want to feel the diaphragm moving, so put a little extra weight into that space, and then support the weight of the head on the forearms or on your own hands, and adjust the alignment of the legs so that you are as comfortable as you can be. The body wants to get real squishy and just melt into the earth so that we can really concentrate on the sensation of breath coming and going, diaphragm moving, dropping down in the direction of the pelvis with inhale, and back up in the direction of the rib cage with exhale. So feel into that, and I will meet you on the mat. That's mean for slowing down the mind is slowing down the breath. In Makarasana, we can really tune into the movement of the diaphragm and apply the effortless effort of our intention to curate a smooth, steady, balanced exchange of breath. Inhale and exhale equal in both length and intensity. And once we're able to establish that smooth, steady, balanced, rhythmic breath, we want to continue to dial down the amount of effort involved and let the whole experience grow soft and subtle. We'll be here for about a minute more. Even here, is it possible to identify not as the breather, rather as the one watching as the body is being breathed? Final full breath here, and then we'll very gently move from Makarasana onto the hands and knees. Take your time and watch as your body moves through this transition. Throughout the practice, as much as possible, keep your orientation toward the space just behind the eye. So notice that part of you that is using the eyes to look out into the world to perceive. Identify as the watcher, the witness, rather than the act of seeing. Maintaining that smooth, steady breath, we'll start to move through cow and cat. Inhaling to draw the collarbones forward, lifting the crown of head and tailbone. And exhaling to gently round the spine, hugging the belly up and in, tucking the chin. Inhale to draw the collarbones forward, lifting crown and tail. And exhale, round the spine. We'll stay with cow and cat for about 6 more rounds. Slow it down a little bit. Move about 20% slower than you normally would. Notice how the body and mind wants to slip into autopilot. And instead, consciously choose to slow it down and be more present to every movement. Present to the influence the movement has on the breath. Present to the influence the breath has on the mind. Notice if there's any tendency to race ahead and see if you can keep slowing yourself back down. On the next inhale, find a neutral spine. And on exhale, stay slow. Begin to move the pelvis around in some circles. Again, really feeling into each and every sensation. Identifying not as the body, but as the one experiencing the body as it moves and experiences the sensations that are delivered from the body to the mind. Again, notice any inclination to go on autopilot. Resist that temptation and stay fully present with the movement, with the sensations, as the one experiencing it all. Which direction? Smooth, steady breath all throughout the practice tonight. And then come back to a neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Take a moment to notice. and identify as the noticer. Tuck the toes, and we'll start to move through a sequence that takes us from down dog, back to the hands and knees, and then into child's pose. So inhaling here. And on exhale, float the hips up and back, extending the spine into downward facing dog. Inhale, lower the knees back to the mat. Exhale, draw the hips back, child's pose. Inhale, return to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, child's pose. We're going to keep going through this sequence. Again, about 20% more slowly, more mindfully. Inhaling to hands and knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, slow motion, float the hips up and back, transitioning to down dog. Inhale, lower the knees, nice and slow. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, back to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes once more. Exhale, find your downward facing dog, and then give yourself permission to explore for a moment, maybe pedaling the feet, maybe sliding the shoulder blades a little further down the back, away from the ears. Looking from side to side, creating a bit more release through the neck and shoulders. And then choose to cultivate stillness and steadiness in the posture. Eliminating all involuntary movement. Smooth, steady, balanced breath. Aware of sensations. Aware of thoughts as they come and go. One more breath here. Inhale, slowly lower the knees back down to the mat. And exhale, move to child's pose. We'll stay in child's pose now for several breaths. Initially, if any movement, wiggling, fidgeting is being called for, give in to that inclination, but do so mindfully, attentively, and then again, consciously choose to cultivate stillness. The breath is slow and smooth. Watch as the body is being breathed. And notice as thoughts rise and fall. On the next inhale, come back up to the hands and knees, up the toes again. Exhale, transition to downward facing dog. Give yourself a breath here. Inhale, lift the heels, soften the knees, gaze toward the hand. Exhale, step lightly up to the top of the mat. Feet about hip distance apart, roughly parallel to one another. Give yourself a moment to bend the knees a bit more generously. Bring the belly and the rib cage into contact with the upper thighs. And then fold over yourself. Release the weight of the head, the neck, and the shoulders. And just hang supported for a moment. Press down through both feet. Keep the knees bent. Inhale, rise to stand. Straighten the legs as you reach tall. And on exhale, find Tadasana, bringing the arms down alongside the body. Give yourself a moment here with awareness in that space behind the eyes. Using the eyes to perceive the external world. Experiencing the body as it's being breathed. And watching the mind think. To the best of our ability, maintaining this observer witness thing. Let's start to move through a little bit more movement, some salutation. Resist going into autopilot and instead be as fully present in the experience as though you are savoring this gift of humanity. Inhale and sweep the arms forward to come up. Keep the spine long. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward over the legs. Inhale to lift about halfway, creating extension in the spine. And exhale, step back to a plank position. On inhale, maintaining plank, just hinge forward slightly. On exhale, lower the knees, bend the elbows, and come all the way to the ground. Inhale, draw the shoulders back, pull the sternum and collarbones forward. Exhale, release, forehead touches down. Inhale, lift back up to the hands and the knees. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale, return to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Linger in down dog and watch the body as it's being breathed. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Try to keep the back of the neck long, gaze down. Exhale, forward fold. Press down through the feet. Inhale, rise, reaching forward to come up. Exhale, Tadasana, arms by your sides. Watch the body being breathed. Moving through one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step back to plank. Inhale, hinge forward. Feel the sensations as they present themselves. Exhale, lower the knees, lower all the way down. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, pull the collarbones through. Exhale, release the head to the ground. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, back to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Find stillness for one breath. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, Tadasana. Give yourself a moment here. Aware of the body. Aware of the breath. Aware of the mind. Identifying as the one with the power of awareness. Moving on a bit. Feet are still about hip distance and parallel to one another. On the next inhale, let's bend the knees, sweep the arms forward, just bringing the arms pretty much straight out. As soon as we start to lift the arms more, we're going to bring in a back bend. So let's minimize back bend. Exhale, straighten the legs and bring the arms back down. We're going to do that a few times. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms out in front of you. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms down. Slow and steady, a few more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to come back into Utkatasana and stay for a moment. Inhale to bend the knees. On the exhale, try to draw the shoulder blades down. Keep the neck easy. Keep the palms soft. And breathe. Notice the sensations as they arise. Notice if the quality of the breath begins to shift in any way. Continue to cultivate awareness in that space just behind the eyes. And watch as the mind thinks. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, release the arms. Just notice. Inhale and sweep the arms forward again. On the exhale, fold forward over the legs. Inhale to lift halfway. On the exhale, bend the knees as deeply as you can, bringing the belly and the chest into contact with the thighs, and bow the head. Inhale, straighten the legs, lengthen the spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend the knees, fold in, full Utkatasana. Inhale, straighten the legs, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in, full Utkatasana. Now we're going to play with building exhale as we curl in. So inhale, find Ardha Uttanasana. 5 count exhale to curl into that little ball. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift halfway. 6 count exhale to curl in. Inhale, lift halfway. 7 count exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. 8 count exhale. Curling into that little ball nice and slowly. And then stay. Find steadiness in this posture. Release the weight of the head. 4 count inhale, 8 count exhale. On the next inhale, straighten the legs, lift halfway once more. Exhale, keep the legs relatively straight, fold forward, full Uttanasana. Just be here a moment. Soften the knees, root down through the feet. Inhale, rise. Exhale, Tadasana. Just notice. Allow any tension present in the body to dissolve. Allow the breath to become effortless, quiet. Awareness in that space behind the eyes. Watching the eyes see. And witnessing the mind think. Moving out of that, just a little bit of very simple, yummy movement. Feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Shift the hips gently from side to side. As you're doing this, again, resist the temptation to shift to autopilot and instead be present to the movement and be present to whatever sensations arise. Take the hips around in a few bigger circles. Switch directions. Come back through to the center and just be for a moment. And the elbows, make loose fists, very simple, gentle twists. Keep the head centered for a few more. And begin to wind that down. Just a little bit more standing. Feet are still about hip distance apart. Toes angled open slightly. Bend the knees. Place the hands on the knees or the thighs. Lock the elbows here. And take a moment to use the arms to help create traction for the spine, allowing for a little bit of decompression between the vertebrae. Again, highly conscious of the movement of the diaphragm, some very simple Agnisara. Inhale, draw the collarbones forward, lifting crown and tail. And exhale, rounding the spine, drawing everything in toward the navel center. Inhale, soften, open up. Exhale, round the spine, drawing up and in. Three more times. After that third round, come back to a neutral spine with the hands still on the knees. Take a moment to adjust. Root down through the feet. Inhale, rise to stand. Drop the shoulders down the back. Exhale, find Tadasana. From here, come onto your backs, lying down, supine position. And we'll start with the knees bent. We're going to move through dynamic bridge a few times. The feet are on the ground, knees are bent. Before we start to move, give yourself a moment just to feel into this posture. And notice the effect gravity has on the body from this angle. Working with the extended exhales a little bit again. Each exhale will be one count longer than the preceding. We'll start with 4 in, 4 out, and then build from there. Dynamic bridge. Press into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips and the arms. And exhale, slowly roll back down. 4 count inhale to lift the hips and the arms. 5 count exhale to lower. 4 to lift. 6 to lower. 4 to lift. 7 to lower. 4 to lift. 8 to lower. Release the weight of the body into the earth and just be for a moment. Notice the sensations. Experience the breath. And watch the mind think. From here, draw one thigh in toward the belly. Let's start by pulling the right thigh in. Left leg can stay bent with the foot on the mat, or you're welcome to extend the leg nice and long, whatever feels more comfortable. With every exhale, see if you can soften a little bit more and potentially play with an extended exhale, either 4 in, 6 out, or if it's sustainable, 4 in, 8 out. Stay fully tuned in to the experience. Notice, watch, if and when the mind wanders. Set the right foot down. Take a moment. Draw the left thigh in. With each exhale, just getting a little bit softer. And again, extending the exhale to either 6 or 8 counts. Set the left foot down. And again, take a moment to just notice. Rebend the right knee, both feet on the mat. Bring the feet a little bit wider to the outer edges and let the arms come out to the side like bull pose or cactus arms. Inhale with the knees upright. And on exhale, let both knees lower to the left. Inhale, bring the knees up. Exhale, lower to the right. Inhale, both knees up. Exhale, lower left. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower right. Inhale, lift both knees back up through the center. Exhale, let them linger there. Let the knees drop in against one another. Rest here for a moment. Bring the knees back to parallel. Take a hold of the back side of the thighs and just rock yourself up to a comfortable seat. Extend the right leg out in front of you, bending the left knee, preparing for śavāsana. Hands can stay on the knees or on either side of the leg, wherever they're helpful. Inhale here for 4 counts. Exhale, hinge forward for 8. Inhale, rise for 4. Exhale again and lower for 8. Two more times like that. Inhaling to lift gently for 4. Exhale to soften and deepen for 8. Now stay in the forward fold. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6, and then hold the breath out very gently for 2 counts. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Suspend the breath for 2. Now try inhaling for 4, exhaling for 4, and suspending the breath for 4. On the next inhale, gently rise. Use the support of the arms. On the exhale, drop the shoulders. Maybe close the eyes, lengthen the spine. And notice. Switch legs. Playing with the breath in a similar way. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 8. Three more times. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Suspend the breath for 2. And finally, in 4, out 4, suspend 4. With the next inhale, press back up. Exhale, hands on the knees. Drop the shoulders, lengthen the spine, close the eyes. And just notice. Lift the right knee, and let's prepare for a little twist. So bring your left heel in if that's comfortable. Keeping the right knee bent, we're going to prepare to twist to the right. So inhale and find a little bit more lift and length in the spine. And exhale, begin to rotate to the right, bringing the hand wherever it's helpful, maybe taking a hold of the knee or the shin. Right hand can come back behind you, continuing to create length and space. With the twist, we'll inhale for 4, exhale for 8, and then hold the breath out. Suspend the breath for another 4 counts. In 4, out 8, 4 count suspension. On the next inhale, gently release the twist. And on exhale, just linger a moment. Prepare to twist the other way. So maybe drawing the right heel in, keeping the left foot on the ground, left knee bent. Adjust this in whatever way you want to, okay? Inhale to get a little bit more length and lift in the spine. And on exhale, rotate to the left, setting yourself up. You can always develop this, take it deeper if the body allows with time. Same breath count for in, 8, out, 4 count suspension. On the next inhale, unwind. Exhale and linger for a moment. Find a seated forward fold that works well in your body, either Vinyāsa I can't remember what this is called, or Paschimottanasana, whichever one your body is the most comfortable with. So we can focus more on the energetic of it all. Same breath count, 4 in, 8 out, 4-count suspension, or let that suspension linger as long as it can, and then follow it up with an effortless inhale. So no struggle, no strain. One more breath, and then return to Dandasana. Stay in Dandasana just a bit longer. Inhaling for 4. Exhaling for 8. And then lingering at the bottom of that exhale for as long as is comfortable. Effortless inhale rises again for 4, ascending toward the crown of the head. Exhale descends for 8. Linger in that emptiness. Effortless inhale ascends toward the crown of the head. Exhale descends. Linger in that emptiness. Inhale when you need to, and then begin to make your way to Shavāsana. If you need to stop anywhere along the way, tend to your body in any way, you're more than welcome to. Maybe you need one more twist or a release for the low back. Whatever you choose to engage with, engage fully mindful of the movement, the sensations, the breath, and the mind's role in it all. Over the next minute or so, make those final adjustments and transition into Shavāsana. Soften back into diaphragmatic breath and invoke stillness. Utilizing the effortless effort of your intention alone. With each inhale, feel a concentration of presence in the space of the head. And with each exhale, slowly that presence descends through the space of the body and escapes out through the soles of the feet. Inhale, presence concentrates in the space of the head. And with exhale, it washes down through the space of the body and out through the soles of the feet. And that exhale may naturally be a bit longer than the inhale and may effortlessly lead to a brief pause at the bottom of exhale. If these are natural occurrences, welcome them. but nothing to force or fabricate. Continue with this kriya for as long as seems necessary to release the surface level contents of the mind down and out through the soles of the feet. And then bring awareness back to that space behind the eyes, where the watcher watches. As the mind thinks or ceases thinking altogether. Remain in śavāsana for just a bit longer. Choose to release any final remnants or residue of tension holding in the body or the mind. Return to awareness. Return to the breath. Return to the body. And take a moment to consider where you might be returning from. And what part of you was listening for that invitation to return. Let the breath gradually grow a little more full and move into the body just enough to easily transition from śavāsana to a fetal position, and eventually to a steady and comfortable seat, taking your time. There is no rush. Once again, soften the belly and enjoy 2 or 3 diaphragmatic breaths. Experience the breath in the nostrils. Bring awareness to that space just behind the eyes again. And experience the breath from here. Bring awareness a little further back still, toward the soft palate, between the inner ears. And delicately place the tip of the tongue behind the upper teeth to hold awareness in the back of the space of the head. Maintaining Divyakarana Mudra, tip of the tongue behind the upper teeth. With inhale, lift awareness to the crown of the head. And with exhale, awareness descends slowly, reaching for perineum, Maybe a brief pause and then an effortless inhale. Once again, ascends. Elongated exhale, descending down Sushumna Nadi, if at all possible. A brief pause below Muladhara Chakra. And inhale to rise again. Continue. Exhale at least twice the length of inhale. And that emptiness at the bottom of the breath for as long as is sweet and effortless. Few more breaths in this way. Dirgha prāṇāyāma. The next inhale once again rises to the crown. Exhale, slow, steady, settles right back down to Agya Chakra. Rest awareness now at Agya Chakra. Savor the emptiness. And yet also delight in the thought as it rises to present itself. See the thought. Observe how the mind engages. And then tell the mind to let it go. Begin to bring awareness back to the breath. And as you do, once again, acknowledge the functioning of the mind. The intention to pay attention to the breath, conveyed to the mind, which then tunes in to the senses. The body responds. The mind experiences. The self observes. The breath gradually grows a little more full at the behest of the mind. Awareness delights. The mind asks the hands to come together in front of the heart and to bow the head. In this moment, mind seeks to perceive soul, consciousness, pure being, and reminds itself of its role in service to this higher aspect. The essential core of who you are. If you'd like, rub the palms together. Bring the palms over the eyes and enjoy another breath or two. Take one last moment here to acknowledge the watcher, the observer. Flutter the eyelids open and slowly move the hands away from the face. So, rather than inviting a lot of thought to the surface at the moment, see if you can move into the rest of your day or evening, maintaining that fold back awareness where you are conscious of the functioning of the eyes, conscious of the functioning of the ears as they perceive. Watching as thoughts start to creep in with more regularity. Thanks for being here live with me. Appreciate it so much. I'm so happy to see you and can't wait to reconnect. Be well. See you soon. Bye, Emma. Take care of yourself.